Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm so thrilled to have you join us today, talking to my guest, and he's just a wonderful guy. You're going to love listening to him, leadership, and a bunch of other things that he's going to share with us. But we brought this podcast together to explore the idea of doing business or life with a servant's heart, how to transform, not transact, and life stories of a gentleman that was in jail for 32 years. He got out. He's more grateful now than ever. He never committed the crime.
Oh,
That's one heck of a story. And there's many more. We're going to have some of those today. We also are bringing guests who are going to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you. It could be in business. It could be in life. It could be through their stories. But we all need that. I need that. I love being a host because I get to hear these stories and I get to resonate with them if I do. And I want to thank our sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine joining this community of high income earners and entrepreneurs who are building a thought leader platform to help and grow and impact the world, but also help you grow as well. So for more information, there'll be a link in the show notes. You can reach out to me and get me all the information. With that being said, I'm going to welcome my guest. He's got great energy for a young guy, and he just loves what he does, I could tell. And we're excited. I'm excited to have him on. Joe, welcome to the show.
thank you, Steve. It's great to be here. I don't have anything dramatic as 30 plus years in jail. Although when I was a kid, I used to remember George Plimpton, and he did.
Oh, yeah.
I used to think that would be a very cool thing to do. Now, children and life get in the way of that lifestyle, but it did appeal to me once. But anyway, thank
I
you.
love George. And things.
Great to
Oh,
be
you're very welcome. One of the topics I've seen through your bio, inclusive leadership. It's unique and different. Not a lot of people talk about it. What's your explanation of that?
Well, by that, I mean inclusive leadership, that you said, in that include people you don't normally bring into your decision-making, your thinking, your thought processes as you're leading or driving or doing business. So it's not, I also am a deep believer in inclusive in the sense of diversity and all that, but this is more like, I talked to an executive once, and she said, I always go down and walk the halls and talk to the most junior person I can find and figure out, which we all hear this, how are they feeling? What do they see happening? Or I like to, if I'm doing work with my teams, ask we're talking about finance stuff, bring the finance analysts that did the work into the room. They were nervous, I admit that, but they're the ones that did the work. I don't need three people in between me. That's what I mean by inclusive. Include people you don't normally bring into the room to get the best decisions and thoughts and insights into your leadership process. And it ain't that hard. Although you have to be generous and nice to them. They're nervous. You have to open up doors for them, give them opportunities to speak, ask questions thoughtfully. They're not your number two that you can drill.
Right. Mentorship sounds like a part of this too. Having a great mentor, making you a better leader.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because I was thinking about the inclusive tying to the mentorship. I had, when I moved to the West Coast, UTG, I had a finance person who was very good, but she would not say a word in front of me. She was petrified. So I told her boss, I said, listen, I want to meet one-on-one privately with her. Oh, it's going to kill her. I said, no, I won't kill her. but she, the first time but I spent one-on-one time and had her walk me through the numbers, not with anybody else, no pressure, which obviously was a form of mentorship. And then eventually she was quite comfortable answering questions in front of the group. But I felt like this woman's pretty talented, so I owe it to her to help her figure out how to bring out that talent, which is inclusive and mentorship.
Yeah, that's great. I love the combination there because that's a powerful partnership. BCG, you've mentioned a couple of times. You've been there for a long time. Well, what have you learned from BCG, and what inspired you to be part of it? And what is it, so people know?
Well, yeah. So BCG is Boston Consulting Group, although now we just go by BCG. I actually just left 2 months ago, although I'm still a senior advisor and all kinds of other things. It is a management/strategy consulting firm. So there's three major consulting firms, or maybe a few more, but of the work that we do, McKinsey, don't like to mention them, Bain and BCG. And we mainly help Fortune 500 type companies with issues on the C-suite or the CEO's mind. Whether should I grow here? Should I grow there? Should I build this business down, jettison this business? All types of things like that. It's, what did you say? What did I learn there? Wow.
Yeah,
well,
what you brought to?
You know what? Actually, I will tell you. I mean, of course, I learned many things, but now on the other end of my life there, I did learn, I served clients. That was great. I had a nice job. I made a decent amount of money. That was great. But the feedback I get now from people I touched, and maybe they asked me a question once and I answered it this way and changed their thinking. And 10, 15 years later, they send me a note, say, I had actually a friend that, a fellow who worked for me probably 30 years ago. He was BCG me 4 years. He sent me a note 15 years later. Hey, I just became CEO and it's all because of you, wherever he was. I said, all because of me. I said, what do you mean? Well, I was texting or email. So what do you mean? He said, well, I asked you this question. You answered honestly, and that changed my perspective. Now, obviously, it's all about him too. He did great stuff, but somehow I moved him 15 years earlier. So that's, I think, what I learned more than anything is when you can help move and inspire, what did you call it? Servant leadership, inspire others, that you're going to remember on the other end.
Yeah,
not
the impact.
You're going to remember that personal impact that you make. That's
okay. So now this begs the question, Joe. You're very successful, good money. Why does Joe, at a very young age, leave and go out on his own?
Well, you keep saying I'm young. I'm not that young, my friend. I am 67 years old. I was there 37 years.
Wow.
And consulting, actually, I won't even, it's not a young person's game.
Well, Joe, even better, you left it. You're doing this at 67. People are probably listening going, well, crazy dude. He's
well, that's 67? A better question.
What's else that? Okay.
Oh, I loved, well, a couple of things. One, I loved it there. I had great mentors and I had great people that I teamed with and got to help grow. And it's mostly young people. So that's pretty fun. That's exciting. But I also, interesting lesson, I was like the tortoise and the hare. Even my first job, Procter & Gamble, I'd watch these people get promoted real fast. And that guy's no good. And eventually they'd go away though, because they got ahead of themselves. And same thing happened here. I didn't make head of North America until I was, 60, 58, 62, somewhere in there. Most people quit consulting by then. So it was a little bit of the tortoise game. I loved it, just kept doing it, did my job. Obviously did it well and good things came and there was new experiences and new learnings. And then obviously COVID hit, which was, no fun in many ways. And I could use bigger words, but for me, it was incredible to get to lead a team of 7,000 people when nobody knew what was happening. That was incredible.
Yeah, that is, wow, that is really cool. And the Navy SEALs have this phrase, reminds me of the tortoise and the hare, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And I love what you were just saying, because a lot of people want, especially nowadays, we're a microwave society, we want to speed up everything. Yeah. Servant leadership. There's leadership, but there's also servant leadership. What's that sound like to you?
Well, that word means a lot of things. I actually think the servant leadership does not mean you're just a servant to the people. You're actually helping the people. First off, you're a leader, so you got to get results. Your team has to get results, or you won't be in a leadership role. So let's remember that. So now the servant leader, though, which I guess I'm going to cheat and say what I call the generous leader, is one who really gives of themselves without expectation of benefit, direct benefit, so others grow, develop, and thrive at their full potential. That's what servant leadership is. So it's not just serving your teams, it's actually growing your teams, which therefore, someone might think, oh, it means you're just nice all the time. Hey, if someone's underperforming and they need to know how to get better. The minute you give mushy feedback, you do a disservice. You give them direct, honest feedback coming from the servant heart, it's taken well. Now you got to think about it and be right and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of it.
No, thank you for saying that, because a servant will say no. A servant leader says, no, you're not a fit here, Steve Ramona. I've got a better, but that's where the servant part comes in. I've got a better position for you. Here, let's put you here. I think you'll succeed. Instead of, Steve Ramona, you don't fit. See ya.
Yeah. No, I think it's really driven by the word care. If you care about others, how well they do, you start to make those calls pretty easily. You just say, well, of course you have to leave. Well, why are you saying that? Well, because I care so deeply about you and it ain't working here. And someone said to me once, well, how do you care if you don't? So, well, first off, I said, well, yeah, so my colleagues, when I talk with them, I said, well, maybe think about something you care deeply about, like your children, your spouse, well, maybe it's a dog for you, and bring some of that care into the workplace, just a little bit, and you actually might start to be a better leader. But if you really don't give a damn, I can't help you. Then you're out of luck.
That's the side that you just got. Yeah, that's when you just wave the goodbye and good luck to you. Collaboration is a big part of what you were saying in the beginning. Talk about collaboration as a leader and as a mentor.
Well, that's interesting because I don't believe anybody, I'll think about that, can do everything or all by themselves. I mean, even this current fellow who's not an elected official, I don't want to get in politics, he's still using a lot of people to try to do whatever he's trying to do. I can say it like that, but I know he's a genius and all that, but he ain't doing it by himself. And I won't say anything more, but you get my point. Yeah. But it's the thing. I mean, it's very funny because I think when you're a young leader, you might have 3 people working for you. You actually could do it all by yourself. If they screw up, you could stay up all night and fix it. But you pretty quickly learn whether once you have 20 people, 40 people, or let's say you're running an organization, it's all about collaboration. You can set direction, you can make investments, you can hand out the money. But if you aren't collaborating with everybody, you aren't getting anywhere because you can't do it anymore. So it's a funny word because it's a requirement or a given, isn't it?
It really is. And a lot of people are not doing that, especially now, to save money, to save time. They think they're saving and they're really not.
Oh, and the thing is, it'll bite them.
Yeah.
It'll bite. They won't get far in whatever their aspiration is.
Well, plus your team gets impacted when you collaborate with your sales director and say, hey, I'm going to give you these jobs. I trust you, go. What a way to serve somebody. And they succeed. Or if they don't, you help them and they learn and they succeed. But yeah, powerful what you're just saying. And powerful as well, a great segue, is your book. What's the title of your book? And what was the mission and idea of writing it?
Well, The Generous Leader. So 7 ways to give of yourself for everyone's gain. And it really was me trying to describe some of what I observed and learned over the years on how someone who spends their time thinking about their teams and growing their teams actually gets the greatest outcomes. The mission is funny because I did say to a friend of mine, well, oh my gosh, so hard to write this book. And Brené Brown has millions of, all these people. He said, Joe, if you move 8 people, you'll make a difference. Now my goal is now hire 8, but I think each one of us want to move a few people and that ripples through. And so that's quote unquote the mission, is to move some people to bring generosity, their hard servant leadership into their leadership.
What's your favorite part of the book?
I've never had that question before. I think there's a part here I have a chapter on vulnerability, authenticity, being real, whatever you want to call it. I say take off the mask. I'm a big believer in that you have to be vulnerable and humble. You don't have to cry, but you got to admit you don't know things, or got to at least understand you don't know something. Otherwise, you can't be a good listener. In that chapter, I describe when I don't know if it came to terms, my dad was gay, and my process of understanding that. I mean, during my younger, 8 to 25, there were signs everywhere, but I did not acknowledge it. And just the process of that own vulnerability. And then I told a group, an LGBTQ group in our Chicago office, it was a national meeting, that story about my dad. And I was worried because I don't want them to think, oh, I understand your life, because that's bullshit. But I want them to understand I did have a little bit of connection and some empathy to their life. That's probably my favorite part. It was really, really personal.
Yeah, and it's to be transparent like that is powerful. It's people want to hear it. And I always say, if somebody went to you and was negative towards you, they're out of your world anyways. You don't even want to deal with them, right? See you later, alligator type of thing. What's one story of somebody you've worked with and they became a great leader? I'm sure you have 37 years, great success stories.
Well, Yeah, I have many, many. I'll tell a story. There was a fellow, this was a great story of, vulnerability, listening, and trying to grow others. His name's Justin Dean. He's a manager. He now runs the Northeast part of, or the Mid-Atlantic part of BCG. And he told me a story as he was developing his leadership skills. I'm trying to make this quick. We were interviewing a bunch of people, we interview people on a day, the 3 interviews, etc. The team was reviewing everybody that day. And this person came up that had knocked it out of the park on the interviews. We scored, they had perfect score across everybody. But their grades were really bad, like in the 2s, which is not where we normally hire. And someone said, wait a minute, those kind of grades can't make it. And the room went back and forth, but look at the interview, and that was 10 years ago, and blah, blah. And then this fellow, Justin, spoke up and said, hey, I need to tell you all something I've never told anybody before. I had those grades in college. He said, what can I say? I screwed up. I goofed around, whatever, I just didn't understand, but got into business, got my act together, got into business school, got hired at BCG, got promoted to senior partner. Now I'm head of this office. So what do you say we give this kid a chance? I thought that was he didn't have to give that kid a chance, right?
Nope.
There's vulnerability there. There's honesty. There's also going out of his way to be generous, to give somebody else an opportunity who, at that moment needed an opportunity. So and Justin is an incredible leader. I don't know if that story is what shook it all, but that to me was a wonderful example of his own growth,
Yeah. No, that's definitely a servant leader right there. Hey, I've been through it. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. What's 1 or 2 things people listening all want to be leaders? There's entrepreneurs listening, there's business owners. They all want to be better leaders because they have a team. They have somebody they're mentoring. You're not a leader unless you're mentoring somebody. That's what I say. I think you agree with that. What are some tips, couple tips you can give to people to make them better, to help them be better leaders?
Okay. So first off, do remember you have to drive results. Let's don't forget that, because I don't want this to all be just about being nice. But importantly, it ain't all about you. So I think a couple tips, if you wake up every day and think, how do I make each of my team members better today, this month? How do I help them to grow? You don't have to do it, but how do I help them to grow? That is going to help you beyond what anything else you can imagine. Then the second tip, though, and you and I talked about this, that is not about only being nice, giving mushy feedback, being afraid to tell the truth. It's about being direct, being honest, coming from a place of how do I help them grow, which means you care. So that'd be 2 tips right off the bat, is really think about how you're growing your team. If they're in the wrong place, then move them, as you mentioned earlier, but otherwise grow them. And growing them does not come from just being sweet. It comes from, but you have to do the work. You have to understand what they're good at. You have to understand what they need to develop. And then you help them put those 2 together. But you owe it to tell them honestly. And you don't want to be brutal, but you want to be honest.
Yeah. Sidecar to, yeah, those are great. And a sidecar to this is authenticity or being genuine. How important is that as a leader?
Well, I think it's essential. I mean, we can all think back. If you have a person that you work for who is perfect all the time, the fact is they ain't, and you know it, and I know it, and they even know. So all of a sudden you question them. Are they full of shit? Sorry to swear. Or what's going on here? How come they can't be on? I can't be like them. So all of a sudden your team starts to wonder who. So I think it's essential. It doesn't mean you have to cry in front of 50 people, but even saying, like that person there was vulnerable, or just even saying, I don't know when you don't know. You say that and your team's unleashed. Oh, the boss doesn't know and we don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, well, let's all think about it. And the energy starts to, as opposed to everyone, oh shit, I can't admit I don't know. What am I going to do? The boss is always perfect. I can't, that is not. So that the important part is vulnerability is as simple as I don't know. It's not what's, oh, Joe, how can you be vulnerable? Just tell something you're not sure. Well, that's not vulnerable. Sounds pretty vulnerable to me.
Yeah, because everybody thinks they have to be this ego on the pedestal. Yeah. You lead side by side. You don't lead by the front. People are not behind you, and that's so perfectly said. And some of my military guests talk about how humble generals are when they say I made a mistake that could have killed thousands of soldiers. And they meant it.
That's a real mistake, isn't it?
That's why I say if he can do that as a general, me and Joe are okay being humble.
That's encouraging.
What's the last tip you leave everybody in business besides just leadership that they can do to help grow?
Well, I do think the last tip is that you said the word collaboration, you said the word side by side. It is all about the team. It's all about the team, and you're a member of the team. You might be leading the team, but even then, you're a member helping that team grow. So that's the tip: is it's about the team, and it's your job to help the team grow.
And sports resonates with that. Every day we watch it, and if you know sports, sounds like you're a sports guy because coach is the coach, and you'll get run across that. I'd like to end with a really fun question to get to know you even more. So I've got a reservation in a restaurant for you, table of 4. You're obviously going to sit in one of the chairs. So you've got 3 empty chairs. Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive, and what food would you order for the table?
Half my family's vegetarian. So well, I have to tell you, I would invite my son. Oh God, I hope my daughters don't listen to this. No, I would invite my children. But,
we'll have a separate table for them. We'll bring a separate table.
No, they can all come. But I would probably invite Fiona Hill, who did my foreword, who's just very interesting and intellectual and fun to be around. I would probably invite. Well, I'd invite my mentor, Steve Gumby, and then I'd invite my wife because that's who I want to eat dinner with.
Yeah, that's nice. Steve Gumby, is Steve Gumby a leader?
Yeah, he's now CEO of FTI Consulting. He's one that believes in real honest feedback, but he helps everybody to grow massively. And he's smart as hell too.
Well, I was just thinking, Gumby, he's flexible everywhere. It's a perfect last name for a guy like that. I just thought about when you said that.
He's learned flexibility as he's gotten older. Let me say that.
Yeah, well, that happens. We
That's
both
all
know
of
that for
us,
sure.
Right? We become less flexible, but you hope our brain becomes more flexible.
Yeah, amen to that. I love it. So the book, give us the title again, where we can find it.
Generous Leader, 7 Ways to Give of Yourself for Everyone's Gain. You can find it, of course, on Amazon or any of those places. And if you want to connect with me, well, you can go through joedavis.com, or I do follow my own LinkedIn pretty carefully now. And if you message me, I will respond, give you my email, and connect. And I'm pretty good.
And we'll put his LinkedIn link in the show notes because Joe Davis is a pretty common name. And you try to search, you might pull up the wrong Joe Davis.
BCG and a lot of things, but it'll come.
Yeah, there you go. Look for BCG. I could just see somebody pull up a Joe Davis, start typing, hey, you were great on the podcast. They're like, what are you talking about? I wasn't on a podcast.
Well, there's a Joe Davis sports newscaster guy, which you type it in, he comes up all over the place. I think, oh, well, that just shows what America cares about, sports.
Amen. Social media and sports. There you go. Well, Joe, thank you again. This has been such a great show. You're definitely an expert in leadership. Audience, reach out to him. Go to his website and subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this link. If you know people want to be better leaders, what a better gift than this link and listen to Joe for 10 minutes, what he's talked about, collaboration, working together, working side by side, all the things he's booked. What a great thing to get to be a better leader. So go ahead and do that. I think that's the great thing about podcasts. They really are gifts. And subscribe to other podcasts, do the same thing. If a podcast resonates with you, share it with people, let them listen to it and see if it helps them as well, because the impact is what we're all about. With that being said, we want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. It means Joe, wish you a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.